Chevalier.
Hello, my name is Harry Tambuatco. Yes, you're watching Business and Living. Now, for this program, just for tonight, we're reversing it. We're going to do living first, and then we're going to go into commerce and or business. You will find this interesting. Our guest this evening, I'm wearing this nice medallion. It comes from the Chaine Manila. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. Ladies and gentlemen, would you believe I'm 1/4 French? I can't speak a word of it. But maybe the color of my hair will give it that bit of Caucasian touch. We have with us as a guest in the studio to talk about the Chaine de Retousseurs. This is a, let's see, a worldwide group. Let me see. I will not try to explain it, and I will have them all explain it. With us in the studio, we have Federico Borromeo. Let's see, I'll read it. Chevalier, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Bail de Manila. That's the group. Bailly de Manila. Bailly de Manila. This is the one in Manila, because the other one's Bailly de Cebu.
Right.
All right. We also have to my right, we have the chef David Pardo de Ayala. Maitre, is that, how do I say it? Maitre Rotisseur. There you go. God, my tongue's going to twist in this show. And we've got Buddy Horrigan, Maitre Hotelier. Correct?
Hotelier.
Gentlemen,
Right.
thank you for being on the show. Okay, Freddie, let's start this out. What is Chaine de Retousseurs?
Well, Chaine is the oldest club in the world, probably.
When you say oldest, how many years?
Well, it was started by the sainted King Louis IX.
Oh my gosh, going back hundreds of years.
Yeah,
then,
that's why.
huh?
Look at your medallion. It's got two
Okay.
dates, right?
Oh, okay.
There's 1248,
Right, 1248. Here you go.
And
Maybe, okay.
1950. Okay.
1950.
Those are the two dates, you know, because after the French Revolution, the organization went into a kind of hiatus, and
Give them cake! Tama ba yun? No, good, that's political.
Let
Okay.
them
I'm sorry.
cake.
There you go. Okay.
you know that it began as an organization of
people
people who were in the food industry, the roasters.
The
And
Retisseur roasters.
yes, and
So, a club of roast.
roasters.
Thirst.
Yes, and they wanted to implement strict standards, which today would be translated as HACCP, or some set of rules or
All right.
sanitary handling. And in the beginning, it was just like everybody had a feast and then leftovers after that. But the Chaine de Retousseurs at that time, as a vision, began to think of portioning and ordinary people having meals,
Okay.
real meals on time, hot food, this sort of thing. And although part of the mission was to be able to create some savings for charity and to help to educate.
There is an advocacy as well.
Yes.
Other than the good food, good wine,
Exactly.
good company,
Which we
networking,
have continued.
It has an advocacy.
Yes.
Let's go on the hotel side,
Yes.
Retisseur side.
That's right.
Chef David, how would you explain the difference between what Freddie has explained? Fred has explained about the history, the purpose, the club, the association, and how it relates to Maitre de Retisseur.
Maitre Rotisseur. There are two
Retisseur.
types of members of La Chaine
Right.
de Rotisseurs, professional and non-professional members. Professional members, such as myself, are people that actually work in the industry, in the food
Yes,
and beverage
food and
industry,
beverage.
hospitality industry. In my case, as a chef, for example, Bobby is a hotelier.
Hotelier.
And there are also members that are not necessarily professional, not necessarily...
I'm a member, I'm in media. There you go. Okay. But is there a difference with, Fred has explained it to be an association of people who enjoy quality food. But I guess in the restaurant side it would be quality service, or...
Service is part of the equation, and for a chef has several more implications than for other professionals, members of the Chaine de Rotisseurs. When I was, quote-unquote, growing up as a chef, when I was a young apprentice, the biggest deal, the most important dinner of the year back in Colombia, in my native country, was when the Chaine de Rotisseurs came to the hotel. That's when chefs pull out all stops, when they go for the best of the best. So for me, as a chef, hosting my fellow members of the Chaine de Rotisseurs is always my most important meal, and attending events by the Chaine de Rotisseurs is also a chance for me to see the direction of other chefs, of other kitchens, contemporary ideas, etc., etc.
So it's the main event when you stage a banquet, because the guests that come know exactly what they're supposed to receive, or they're very high critique.
There are different types of events, different degrees of formality. Some are more casual, some are more elaborate. Depending on the profile of each event, there's different degrees of involvement as well in the design of the menu, tasting, wine pairings, etc. So there are many details to coordinating these affairs.
Bobby, on the hotel side, how would it differ from the restaurant to the hotel side?
Well, you know, for the hotel side, I mean, you know, we have all the manpower, and we have certain things that restaurants don't have, right?
Yes.
So usually
size.
when it's held in a hotel, it's very exciting, because we make it very elaborate with the chandeliers and the swabs, and we have lots of entertainment, and so we really put a big production towards the Chaine, the rotisserie events in our hotels. For us, like what Chef David said, for us, it's the biggest event for food, because we know the people coming are gourmands, right? Professional and non-professional. So all the people coming, they like good food, right? So we have to put the big show, and we have to please each and every one. And every general manager is outdoing themselves, right? So from one hotel to the other, everybody's trying to make it better, right? Each time. So it's exciting.
Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of weeks back, I wrote an article on this on the local print, and I called it The Art of Civility. If you've noticed, we've come down from the trees. Now, while we have our issues with commerce and we have our own issues with politics, this country is beautiful, and we have a lot of talent, and our food is fantastic. The Chaine brings this out into the level of what we call international. Freddie, when the Chaine or the events are staged, there are multiple events, is this a critique, or is this like, do you give passing grades to the, how do you say, the event organizers, to the restaurant, to the hotel? Or it's not necessarily that?
Well, we actually work with the chef, with the
prior to the meal, prior to the banquet.
Yeah,
yes.
we go
I saw that. I saw
very
that.
difficult
Yeah.
food tasting and wine
And
pairing.
wine pairing, I saw that,
And
yes.
it's it comes down to a point where we're looking at the table setting and the flatware, and sometimes we have to recommend that the flatware is borrowed from another hotel, because we just really want it to be perfect the way we know. One of the objectives of the Chaine is to promote la culture de la table, the culture of the table. And like you mentioned, there are many rules when you do this. It's got to be absolute civility. The food has to be so good, because wine has to be just paired with whatever nuances are in the food, and no salt and pepper is allowed. So you can just imagine.
No wonder there's none every time I sit in the Chaine.
no.
Every event.
It doesn't require salt and pepper.
And hey, look at this part. Can you imagine serving 150 people at one table at the same time? This is like a symphony. You go through the practices, the waiters go through the practices, the sommelier has to be pouring. At most, there is a split of a couple of minutes between serving one part of the table and the other. So it's really like an orchestra.
So
it
it's
doesn't
timing.
always come out perfect, but that's the objective.
Timing.
Can you imagine making a steak for 150 people?
I used to own restaurants. Yes,
Yeah, I know that.
I can relate.
So,
to it.
I mean, you know, there's none of this, oh, this is too raw, or, you know,
Yes,
this is
yes.
too well done and all of that, and this is too salty and this is not salty. You know, can I have some ketchup?
How
No.
do the members? How do the members become gourmands? That's a nice question. How do members become gourmands? You see, the problem with food is it's such a subjective point of view. One man's poisons is another person's delectable whatever. It can change. That's the problem. How do the members become gourmands as they join the Chaine?
This is what we offer. We offer an education. And
So
as
you have to participate to educate yourself.
Exactly.
Oh, I see. That's what it's about.
It's an education for everyone, for the hotel and restaurant people as well.
It
And
must cost a lot for the establishment. You barely make a profit if the chain is going to
no
own.
profit is involved when they deal with the Shen. It's a matter of honor.
Oh, there's no profit. I
Definitely.
see. So everyone's just paying basically for the cost of goods.
Yep.
Cost of goods sold.
Yep.
No wonder the wine's always flowing non-stop every time I go to one of those. David, tell us more about how you participate and what you do for the Shen. I know you're very active with everybody here, I've noticed. How do you become the host to begin with for all the events? Because you have so many events.
Well,
You bid? Do you bid?
Actually, the Chaine invites member establishments every so often to host an event. I would say once a year or once every year and a half, we host an event.
But you don't make money
That's
on the
not
commerce
point.
side.
Well, you can find the perfect balance.
Okay.
Having the Chaine Rotisseurs is a very worthy development to put out in the press, etc. Gives you the chance to invite special food critics, etc., to attend the event, and at the same time, not only join the Chaine Rotisseurs, but share in what the hotel is accomplishing by hosting the Chaine Rotisseurs. So definitely, maybe the peso profit is not
As important.
traditional, but there are many pluses for any restaurant to host the Chaine Rotisseurs.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to take a short break. Now, when we come back, we will be joined by another member of the chain. We have Arnie Del Rosario. But before we go, Chef David has to go because he's got a big event coming up tonight. So, David, a message to our viewers, and because this is going on the website as well of the chain, a message to all those that will be clicking to watch, to hear, to understand, and to get educated upon. A short message to the viewer.
We invite everyone to find out more about the Chaine Rotisseurs. We are very active in Metro Manila. We are expanding our membership, inviting new people to join us. It's an absolute wonder being a member of the Chaine Rotisseurs.
Thank you very much,
It's
Chef.
my pleasure.
Okay, the Art of Civility will be right back with Arnie again with the Chaine de Rotisseur.